CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Winter driving conditions made a mess on the Coquihalla Highway last night. A tour bus filled with seniors collided with a transport truck, and that left dozens of people injured, one of them in critical condition. It happened south of Kamloops last night in icy, slushy, snowy conditions. The crash set off a chain reaction of smaller collisions. Several people were trapped inside the bus. It took emergency crews about 2 hours to get them free, pulling them through the windshield of the vehicle. After several weeks of relative calm at the pumps, the price of gasoline in Greater Victoria has taken a sudden and a significant jump. Regular fuel is now nearly 8 cents a litre more at stations around the capital region. It went from about $1.13 a litre to $1.21 in one fell swoop. Most drivers are disappointed but not surprised, writing it off as the cost of convenience.
Even if I'm paying $5 for them, I'm still going to have to drive, to get to practice and stuff. So, having my car is kind of a necessity.
I was very surprised to see that it fluctuates so fast just overnight. It's very disappointing. I like to see them study or go down faster when you know that the price of the barrel is going down. They're slow to react to it. I don't know why.
Regular fuel at this time last year was pumping for $1.09 per litre. Well, if you take Shelburne Street in Saanich during your morning commute, you could be using as much gas idling as you are driving. It's one of the busiest arteries in the municipality. And construction at the Hillside Shopping Centre shows what happens to Shelburne when you close even one lane. The 4 lanes of Shelburne Street see a steady flow of traffic all day, nearly bumper to bumper during the morning rush. The congestion is worse because of the construction. The mayor says it's getting dangerous, and Saanich is holding a series of open houses seeking your feedback on how to manage the busy corridor so that drivers and cyclists and pedestrians can safely coexist.
We really need to think about what that corridor should look like for the next 20 or 30 years at least, but beyond. It's totally inadequate. It's a very narrow roadway. It's not safe for pedestrians or cyclists. And we have, residential development around there that clearly is not going to be the same for the next 20 or 30 years. So if we're going to have redevelopment, if we want to rebuild the road, then we should have a vision of what it should look like and how it can serve all users. So we're having the open houses and the virtual open house for people to give us their feedback.
Those Shelburne Valley Action Plan open houses will be held Monday and Tuesday of next week from 4 till 8:30. It's at the Cedar Hill Golf Course. If you can't attend in person, you can get more information and share your ideas online at saanich.ca. Well, farther up the road on Shelburne Street, Saanich is staying true to its roots, celebrating a major milestone at Mount Doug Park. A new charter rock was unveiled at the park this morning to celebrate Saanich's ongoing dedication to Mount Doug Park. It was 20 years ago today that the province transferred the title of the land to the municipality. And ever since, Mount Doug's popularity has increased.
When the park was first transferred to Saanich, you couldn't walk around the park inside the park. It was all on private land. So they acquired all that land. They acquired Little Mount Doug, which is outside the park when they came. And then Saanich's been very cooperative with other things. For example, they've really supported the restoration of Douglas Creek as a salmon habitat, and we've got now having the salmon come back.
We're working hard to make it a natural park, and for most of it, you can walk through the trails here and it's like it was 100 years ago. And I want it to be that way for people 100 years from now.
Mount Doug Park itself is 150 years old. The referendum over whether to build a new fire hall in View Royal is heating up with what appear to be campaign dirty tricks. West Shore RCMP have been called in after someone stole the proponents' campaign signs. Firefighters filed a complaint this morning after realizing that at least 20 of their signs had gone missing from supporters' lawns. The vote yes for a new fire hall signs were all there last night, but by daybreak today they had disappeared.
Not only is it serious for the volunteers, but it's serious for the community. We're trying to get the message out, on the importance of this referendum and the importance of replacing the hall. We're open to both sides, yes, no, and everyone has an opinion. The volunteers are just trying to get their point across and advertising that we've got a referendum coming up, and we're putting out signage and informing people. And to have the signs taken down, it's really disappointing. It's not part of the democratic process, and that's why the RCMP are investigating.
RCMP are investigating. They say at least 50 signs have gone missing or have been vandalized over the past few weeks. Anyone who knows who may be doing this is asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Former colleagues and employees honored the memory of Chu excavating owner Johnny Chu today with a memorial donation to the David Foster Foundation. The International Union of Operating Engineers presented a check for $5,000 in Johnny Chu's memory. The union wants to recognize the man credited with bringing the first backhoe to Vancouver Island and using it to build Chu Excavating from the ground up.
John was a great guy. He's done lots of work with operating engineers, been very active in the construction community on Vancouver Island, and we've had relationships with him through some of our realty investments on the island, and of course he'd been a long-standing employer of operating engineers for 50 years.
Johnny Chu was a great philanthropist in the community. He died in August of this year. Well, today is Thanksgiving Day in the United States, and that means tomorrow is Black Friday, the one-day orgy of consumerism that kicks off the annual holiday shopping season. And Canadians are getting into the act amid signs of some economic uncertainty and an increase in it in this country. StatsCan says there was a modest increase in consumer spending in September, sales up 0.1 of a percentage point to $39 billion. That's well short of expectations. But there'll be no holding back on the spending tomorrow on either side of the border. It's Black Friday, and Vancouver Islanders are catching the fever.
Our wives didn't want to go shopping, so we decided to do it for them.
So you guys you're going on a guys shopping trip to the States?
When you look online, it looks like that, and there's more selection and just new variety.
Just something different, yeah.
You've been given a shopping list.
Hey, I'm just typing it onto my iPhone right now, actually. I saw you. I thought you were going to come here and ask this, and my wife said, I need Paige jeans, skinny leg. So I have to type that in, and I need a Q zip around Mark by Marc Jacobs purse. So I'll be really scouting it out, going to Nordstrom's and Nordstrom Rack to see if I can find this.
And some of those traditional Black Friday bargains are already being snapped up by door-busting deals for Grey Thursday. Americans pushing back from the turkey table tonight to get shopping. Major retailers such as Toys R Us, Kmart, Target, Best Buy, and Sears are hoping to cash in early. All right, well, some different consumer news for you. If you have cherry tomatoes in your fridge, you may want to check what brand they are. Health Canada has issued a recall over salmonella fears. Crown brand, that's Crown with a K, cherry tomatoes in the 551 milliliter container are affected. They were sold between the 13th and the 21st of November. They were also used in party trays made in Safeway stores between November 14th and the 21st. The Food Inspection Agency says no illnesses with the tomatoes have been reported so far, but they say if you have them, you should return them where you bought them. And a seniors care group on the island is calling on you to be a Santa for a senior this holiday season. Victoria's Home Instead Senior Care needs help spreading Christmas cheer to seniors who are low income and living alone.
For us at Home Instead Senior Care, we're hoping that we touch many seniors' lives, but we also are touching people's lives that want to give. And to us, that's what the spirit of giving and the season is, and it should be all year round. I know a lot of times we focus on children, but seniors sometimes get forgotten in this, and we're hoping that it's as rewarding for the people around our community as it is for us.
Home Instead has set up Christmas trees in stores all over Greater Victoria with ornaments with seniors' names on them. You can choose an ornament, then buy a gift for the senior it belongs to. Staff from the care group will deliver those gifts to the seniors on Christmas Day. The man convicted of slaughtering a pack of sled dogs near Whistler after the 2010 Olympic Games has been sentenced to 3 years probation, but will serve no jail time. A BC Supreme Court judge handed down that sentence just moments ago. At his sentencing hearing today, the court heard that Robert Fawcett had suffered immensely during the international outcry over the massacre. Fawcett admits to shooting dozens of sled dogs and slitting their throats before burying them in a mass grave. He says he did it because the company's owner ordered him to kill the pack in a post-Olympic slump. The Crown says Fawcett has received death threats and has had a mental breakdown while his children were forced into hiding.
The evidence, based on his statement and based on the investigation that followed, established that a number of 43 sled dogs, adult sled dogs, were killed by Mr. Fawcett. And the forensic evidence established that 9 of those dogs undoubtedly were caused unnecessary pain and suffering.
Both the Crown and Defence jointly recommended that Fawcett be spared jail time. Well, the Mayor of Nanaimo is launching a preemptive strike, fighting to make sure that the BC Assessment Authority does not agree to reduce the values of the ferry terminals in his city. It's already happened in West Vancouver, and John Rattan fears that Nanaimo's next. If it happens, the city could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax revenue if BC Ferries is successful in appealing the assessed value of its terminals. Nanaimo has partnered with North Saanich to appeal the assessment board's ruling, even though it doesn't directly affect their municipalities. They're worried it could set a precedent that'll have a huge impact on Vancouver Island municipalities.
Nanaimo has 3 terminals. We have the 2 long-haul ones from Departure Bay and from Duke Point to the mainland, and of course a smaller service that goes to Gabriel Island. You know, if we are targeted with a similar assessment, if these 3 properties are each valued at $20 or $60 total, our tax base, which is now a gross tax of $1 million, and a net to the city of $655,000. So that means a direct hit of $655,000 to the taxpayers of Nanaimo.
Rattan says the province should be stepping in to help. The BC Property Assessment Board has received appeals from Swartz Bay and 3 more in the Courtenay-Comox area. RCMP and Nanaimo are asking for your help tonight to identify robbers after 3 women were targeted in violent attacks. Mounties got a call early this morning when a man spotted a woman lying on a sidewalk near the downtown area. RCMP said the woman was struck from behind and her wallet was stolen. The victim told police it was 2 men in their late teens or early 20s who beat her to the ground. She was taken to the hospital and treated for injuries to her face, hands and shoulders, but that wasn't the only attack. RCMP say just a few hours later, another woman was knocked to the ground.
Members arrived there. BC Ambulance was on scene. She advised that she thought what she'd heard was kittens meowing behind a dumpster. She went to check it out and she was hit from behind. When she came to, her purse had been gone through and she had some money taken, and of significance was that there was 2 $2 bills taken. And so we're asking people, if you see something like that, to please report it. She did not get any look at her assailants at all.
RCMP say a similar incident happened about a month ago. A woman was struck from behind and robbed by a man on Commercial Street. RCMP say they have no leads. If anyone has any information or witnessed the events, they're asked to call police or Crime Stoppers.